All right. Hello, everybody. We are live here today in the Business in Abundance interview series. Happy Valentine's Day. I'm so honored that you decided to do this today, Lisa, and celebrate all of us, celebrate love. So today I have Lisa Manyon of Right On Creative and Spiritual Sugar joining us. I am so excited to have a conversation with her today. Lisa, before we dive into the questions, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. I am just so excited to be here today on the Day of Love because we're celebrating healing with love and the whole spiritual sugar journey, as well as marketing with integrity, which is the umbrella that I teach, train, and transform under through Right On Creative. I'm Lisa Manyon. I'm known as the business marketing architect. And in a nutshell, I help mission driven entrepreneurs and business people take the pain out of planning and the pain points out of marketing. And I'm also the author of the #1 international bestseller, Spiritual Sugar, The Divine Ingredients to Heal Yourself with Love. So I'm excited to dive in and talk about all of the good things.
Yes. Well, I'd love to start with spiritual sugar. I'd love to hear anything you want to share about, the culmination of this book. What led you to write this book? What is the message, and anything else about that you would want to share with people who are watching?
Sure. So the overarching message is, of course, healing with love. And I was divinely guided to write this book. 2 years prior to receiving a cancer diagnosis, I was given a message that I was to write a book called Spiritual Sugar and that it would be about healing with love. To which I just freaked out straight up. I'm going to be honest. I thought, listen, I'm already teaching marketing with integrity. That's sort of an oxymoron in my industry. Focusing on passion points instead of pain points, I can't take on anymore. And also, I don't feel like I'm a healed person. So I journaled about it and kind of set it aside. And then fast forward 2 years later in 2017, I was sitting in my office and I was sitting in inquiry. I was going to find out, what was going on, get a diagnosis. I didn't know if I had cancer, didn't have cancer, had no idea. And I got another message that said, don't worry, you're going to heal this with love. And I thought that sounds so much better than the alternative. And I remembered at that moment my journal entry. And I say that because journaling is very important. Of course, I'm all about writing, but write things down because you may need them later. I went back and I opened that journal from 2 years prior, and there was the name Spiritual Sugar, and kind of the tagline, heal yourself with love and give yourself some love, both of those things. And I thought, oh my gosh, okay, yes, let's do this. And on the spot, I bought the domain and I started building out the brand while I was healing cancer. So that
Wow.
is how the book came to be.
This was part of your journey. It sounds like almost this whole spiritual sugar and this message that you really received so strongly was part of that healing. And what does it mean to heal with love? Share a little bit about what that means.
Yeah, well, there are two very strong vibrations in the world. There's love, which is the strongest vibration, and there's fear. And most people roll into fear. And most people, when they receive a cancer diagnosis, think that it's a death sentence. And for me, of course, I got that divine message. So I'm not going to argue with the creator. I'm like, okay, listen, I'm down with healing with love. Let's just do this, right? And so for me, healing with love meant really tapping into self-love in a big way. It meant quitting my 4 favorite food groups, which aren't even food groups: coffee, wine, chocolate, and cheese. Eliminating all processed food cold turkey. I honestly thought that that would kill me alone. I really did, because I loved all of those things so much. I was such a coffee snob, grinding my own beans in the morning, but I needed an alkaline system, right? So I just started being healthier. And so healing with love was all about eating pure food, drinking filtered water, taking really pristine care of myself, and spending a lot of time in nature, walking and just nourishing my soul and learning, really being led to all of these, non-traditional healing modalities that can um, complement Western medicine, because I did do surgery and it was throat cancer, which I find fascinating because, I give people a voice to turn their ideas into something that matters. It's what I do with messaging. It's a really big thing. So, we could go down the rabbit hole of all of that, but I think um, people will understand that there was also a message there. What are you saying? What are you not saying? And so when I got the 5 years all clear last year in August, I also wrote the book and published it in November, and it became an international bestseller. And I'm blessed to have a foreword by Dr. Joe Vitale and an afterword by Neil Donald Walsh. So I'm bookended by these amazing men that were in The Secret. And I think that's funny for many reasons. One of the biggest reasons is I watched The Secret years and years ago, learned about the law of attraction. I did not know the law of attraction was a thing. It was how I naturally did things. And I thought, oh, this is cool. There's a name for this, right? So there's just so many threads that came together in this whole healing journey. And I've always maintained that business is personal. People can try and separate them, but listen, we're people, and more we need to be transparent, and we have to share our stories because our messages truly matter.
That is really powerful. And I didn't realize it was throat cancer. And the fact that this is what you do, you help people with their message, you help people find their voice. And the vision I got with you saying that was really like you had the strength to heal this thing because you're actually healing it for others. That it's like part of the journey, part of the process that you had to go through to really make that impact and transformation and heal others.
It's really true, and I've always said, what I do with teaching marketing with integrity and what I do with Right On Creative is I've always said it's doing my part to help heal those broken threads of humanity. And now Spiritual Sugar is just a extended love letter to humanity. And it's so cool because
Mhm.
I get kind of teary and emotional about it because people are getting so much from the book. It's helping so many. And I knew that it would, but I think when I see the 5-star reviews and when I have people reach out and say, "Hey, this is helping my mom so much," or "It's helping my friend," and one of my dear friends read it and said, "Thank you for reminding me of who I am." And those are just really powerful statements that make me, just fills my heart and makes me so happy and just grateful to be here because I don't take any minute, any second for granted. And it really, facing mortality really gives you new perspective. It is not for the faint of heart.
Oh, and look at you, so alive, so glowing, so beautiful, sharing your message with the world. I'd love to dive into a little bit more about that and specifically core messaging. And I've shared the link here below for the messenger quiz, and I'll share a QR code towards the end of this. But what is core messaging and why does it matter?
Oh, such a great question. So the core message is really what you stand for your brand and all of that, right? So earlier I mentioned I'm teaching, training, and transforming under two main umbrellas, healing with love and marketing with integrity. And we have to be really clear about what each of those messages are, right? So I work with a lot of multi-passionate people. You'll hear many in the industry say you can only focus on one thing. I totally disagree. You can focus on more than one thing, but you need to have a plan, a strategy, and a message for everything. So your core message extends just beyond your brand messaging, but to your individual offers. And if you don't have your core message dialed in, you simply can't do anything. And so many people are stuck when it comes to creating that core message, mainly because of the pain point marketing techniques that are taught. The people that I attract are fully aligned with their values, and they actually are experiencing a major energetic disconnect by everything else that's being taught out there. The pain points make them stop and freeze, and they can't really own their magic because it isn't aligned with their values. So when we talk, it's kind of interesting. I didn't realize I was doing this for quite some time, but I'm doing energy work in the midst of all of this because once I share about passion points and people realize, oh my gosh, I don't have to poke at those pain points, they realize it's just this energetic block. It's lifted, and I'm blown away because people have told me that. They're like, "Thank you. I've been blocked from sharing my message because everyone was telling me I had to poke at these pain points, and it doesn't feel good." And what I always tell people is, if it doesn't feel good, it's probably not good. If it doesn't feel right, it's probably not right. And what I love about the passion point approach is that The framework I've created, which is called the Challenge, Solution, and Invitation Framework, it teaches people how to dial in their core message by focusing on those passion points and by being really clear about their value proposition so that you don't have to overcome objections. You're so clear that people know it's either an automatic yes or an automatic no.
I love that. And you said something so true. And I've seen this in business. Business is energy. And so many people get caught up. I see this a lot in the sales world as well, where people are like, well, you've got to point out what they're lacking, or what they're missing, or what the problem is, or what's going to happen if they don't have this. It's like focusing on the doom, right? But I love the approach. And I've also utilized this myself, where if you really come from that place of integrity, as you say, and you come from that place of authenticity, and you share your message, and you are you're speaking your truth, but you're speaking it in a light and in a positive way, and with that passion, and also the authority that this is my truth. People are attracted to that. They're drawn to that much more than looking at all of the negatives.
Yeah, when you apply the framework that I teach, it really does create that energetic alignment, and that's vital. I mean, either you're aligned or you're not. And you can tell when you're not because it starts feeling like a struggle and you can't really share your message with ease and you always second guess yourself and question yourself. But when you apply the values-based challenge, solution, and invitation framework, it's honestly just about building relationships. And one of the things that I share, because so many people get stuck first of on their messaging because they think, oh, I don't want to market. It feels weird or icky. It doesn't have to when you do it the right way. Same with sales. Sales is not a bad thing. Sales is all about building relationships, but you have to do that in the right way and also from a place of true service that's aligned with your values. Because what happens is it's really fascinating. I've watched and studied this for decades with the pain point marketing. It can work. I'm not going to say that it can't, but it doesn't feel good. But not only does it not feel good, it perpetuates buyer's remorse and chargebacks and return rates. And so what
Mhm.
that does is it means, yeah, you'll make some sales, but you're not going to get return customers because they're not happy. And they're not necessarily going to tell you that. They're going to feel that
Mhm.
disconnect. They're going to feel like, oh, I was sold one thing, but I didn't really get what was promised, or whatever happens in that whole scenario. And they're going to not, well, they're probably not going to tell you about it. But when people ask, should I do business with this person? They're going to say no.
Yeah.
Right. So that's another thing that I think is really, really important. For me, I want to set things up so that there's long-term sustainable success. So when I play with a client, they become a preferred client for life. They come back to me if they need help with something. When they need help with something, I never try to sell them into something that they don't need. That doesn't work. And sometimes I'm like, well, actually, you're complete, and they don't think they are, and they want to continue to give me money. And I'm like, no, you really are complete. Go do this thing because I'm done. And not because I don't love you, because you've got to get out there, get your wings, and share this message with the world. And it's your time to fly.
Yeah, I love that. I find that too. A lot of people kind of get stuck and don't know, where to begin, or they don't really want to put it out there. So they're afraid of that visibility. It's like they want the visibility, but they're afraid of it. But I think when your message is really clear and it's coming from that place of integrity and aligning with your values, you're excited to get that message out in the world, right? I know that for me, there's an energy behind, like, I can't wait to get this out. And I'm so sure in what I'm speaking, and this is my truth, that it's gonna connect with the people that it's meant to connect with, and it's not gonna connect with the people that I'm not meant to connect with, right?
It's
What would
exactly true.
what would you say to somebody, who's just feeling really stuck? They don't even know where to begin. They have, a product, a service, something they're excited about sharing with the world, and they really don't know where to begin. What's a good starting point for somebody in beginning to create those messages and that
Sure.
visibility?
Well, I'm going to invite them to the messenger quiz, of course, because I've created a messenger quiz that identifies your messenger type. So what I have found over the past, multiple decades is there's typically three types of messengers. We have the launcher, and that's the person like you just mentioned that has a lot of things going, really haven't dialed in the messaging for each of those, or even maybe their core offer, or maybe things have changed and evolved And they could be getting some advice to just completely rebrand, which isn't always necessary. I say don't do that. Let's not reinvent, let's evolve. Let's take a look at that. So there's either the launcher, there's the leader who's ready to become the go-to choice in their industry. You know, they're already doing really well, but they're ready to level up and say, listen, I'm going to own my magic. So they just need to refine. And then there is the legacy creator who's ready to do legacy work, like publishing a book, creating a course, creating a collective like you're doing, all of those things, right? And there can be carryover from all of the different messenger type, but here's the thing. You take the quiz, you identify your messenger type, and then I walk you through how to apply the challenge, solution, and invitation framework to your message. Meaning you're going to get some email messages. I'm going to show you the steps to map that out yourself. You could probably just take off on your own and be done with me. However, if you want to go deeper and you're not 100% that you're clear, you can always schedule a quick start strategy session with me where we dive in and really hone in that core message together. So first and foremost, just take me up on the free stuff and run with it, because it's my gift, another one of my gifts to humanity. And if you want to play, we can play, but there's absolutely never any pressure whatsoever.
And I do recommend taking the messenger quiz. I've taken the messenger quiz, and it was it helped me really kind of see where I fall. And I think I fall, a little bit between a launcher and a leader for sure. But then Lisa continues to send incredible, valuable content and information that you can apply. And then I absolutely recommend a strategy session, because your message and aligning that with your values is foundational for everything else in your business. And anything you're going to go out there and share and do, and branding and the message you want to send, it has to start there. And if you don't know what that is, and you're throwing darts at the wall with different tactics and strategies and pain points, you're probably wasting time, and you're doing a disservice to yourself and those who you're trying to reach.
It's really true. And I mean, I just get so excited when those energetic blocks are removed, when people can really own their magic. And that's what it's all about. And what makes the challenge, solution, and invitation framework different than a lot of the traditional things that are taught. Like, for example, the standard go-to is problem, agitate, and solve. That's been around forever. I'm not sure which copywriter in the dark ages created that, but they're the ones that really amplified that poking at pain points, because what you do there is you identify the problem, and we all know that we need to know what a problem is so that we can help someone solve it. But we don't have to poke at those pain points, because that's the second part of that antiquated model, is you agitate the pain points. So you let people know how horrible their life is, or why they can't live without you, or all these things that are more negative, and then you solve it. I just flip the script and I say, let's go with the challenge, solution, and invitation framework. It's a subtle but powerful shift. And I always say that small shifts make big impact. So with the challenge, it's about empathy and understanding. We meet people where they are. So for example, with the messenger quiz, people are challenged with messaging. Great, take the quiz. That's, just addressing the challenge there. What is the solution? They're going to learn how to apply the challenge, solution, and invitation framework. They're going to learn how to do all of this, which is amazing. And within the solution piece, you get to share results. Like I've already shared some results that people get clear, they make more money, they remove energetic blocks so they can own their magic. There's all kinds of things that happen, and you can share case studies and antidotes within your solution and testimonials so that people understand the value of the work that you do. So one of those stories that I'll share right now real quickly is that there's a woman who read an article that I wrote about this back in the day, I mean, well over a decade ago. And she had hired a sales coach to help her close deals at live events. And she was not getting any traction, and she spent a lot of money with this person. She read my article, applied the challenge, solution, and invitation framework. It removed energetic blocks. She tried it at a couple of her live events. She got better results than she had received the whole year of working with a high-end coach. So, well, people will say to me, Lisa, that didn't make you any money. So how are you saying that that is, a valuable bit of evidence to share? And I'll say, because it made a difference. And it's not always about making the money. Yes, of course, I want to do that too. But what I want to do is set people up for success. So that makes me so happy that she was able to do that. Once you've shared your solution, then you can roll into an invitation, which is not ever a hard sell, pushy thing at all. So in this instance, it's like, hey, if that sounds good to you, go and take the messenger quiz. that simple. It doesn't have to be painful. And that's why I always say I take the pain out of planning and the pain points out of marketing, because once you're clear on that core message, then we can reverse engineer your most powerful solutions into even more profitable revenue streams, and create a plan and strategy to get you from where you are to where you want to be.
And it really actually frees up a lot of time and energy and space that's taken up with trying to come up with scripts, and and not that content isn't important, because you're still creating content, but you really know what that is that you want to create, and it's all built around that message. And I love that story, because I really believe that when you give and you help and you serve to create transformation, it all comes back in exactly the way that you need, whether it's money, whether it's business, whether it's inspiration, or just an incredible connection that you've made.
It's true. And to follow up on that story, eventually she did hire me. It was years later, but she did, because of that connection that was already built, that trust, and just the added value that I shared with no strings attached in that article.
And that happens a lot. I tried something recently, very similar, where I just really threw a message out there, kind of into the ethers, with not a lot of expectation about where it would land. And it was just really from my heart and authentic, and how I would speak to a friend. But my message was to offer something of value. And I had an incredible, like, astounding response from that. And it was really the first time I had tried to do things in that way, and I was blown away. And so, now it's like, it's almost like you learn a magical secret. I think of Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, where the good witch says, right, the power was with you, you had it all along. And so I really think that's true, that like everybody has this message in them, and it's just figuring out, okay, what's in the way, right? Those energetic blocks, or what is your message? And what would you say to somebody who comes to you and is like, well, how do I identify my blocks? How do I work through my energetic blocks? I just want to have a great web page and some great, like, marketing material.
Well, it depends on their energetic blocks, because, although I do some energy work, I'm not necessarily an energy healer, I think would be the best way to put that. But when people are really stuck, it really is just tapping back into the core of your heart and your soul and your values, and get out of your mind, actually. Even though strategy is really important, you have to get out of your mind and open your heart to really get that messaging. I actually say, there's that age old adage that says that copy is king. And I totally disagree. I believe that copy is queen. It's the feminine energy, that relationship building essence of marketing, and strategy is king. It's what drives to the message, right? So what often happens is, if there's an energetic disconnect, maybe you've got a really great strategy, but super weak content, then it's not going to land, right? The opposite is true. You could have the very best content and message in the entire world, but if you've got no strategy to get eyes on it, nothing's going to happen. So I liken that dance between copy and strategy, or messaging and strategy, either way, like it's the energetic dance of a relationship, and both partners have to be working together in order for it to be fully efficient and effective.
Yeah, and I see that, almost that male female balance of the energies. That strategy can be considered a more male energy, and content and the relationship and that connection could be more of the female energy, and both so
It's
important. So I
so
love that.
true. So true. And I have another little fun story. I just did a session with a friend. We did a trade, which I don't do often, just FYI, make it really clear and clean, but we're very dear friends and support one another. And she was having a little bit of a challenge with her messaging. And so we did one of the strategy sessions together. And in the first 12 minutes, I was able to reframe her title for her, of what she was calling herself, so she could fully own it and energetically align. It blew her mind. And then also rename the taglines for two of her signature programs and the webinar titles. And she said, you just did in 12 minutes what it would have taken me forever to get done. And she goes, how do you do that? I said, I really can't explain it. I've been doing this for so long. But when people are energetically aligned, I do tap into their energy, and I'm able to just tell me what you're doing. I'm like, oh, so what you mean is, and then I just flipped it for her, and she goes, oh my gosh, how did you do that? And this is also why I record my sessions with people, because oftentimes not to sound totally crazy woo-woo, but it's channeled. I will say something brilliant because I am in the moment, and someone will say, "Will you please repeat that?" And I'll say, "I wish I could. That's why we've recorded it. We'll go back and listen." Because I'm so in the zone and I'm just tapping into that energy, and really that energy of the message is flowing through me for them. You know, it's not, I would never say that it's just me. It's the energy created between my clients and myself.
Yeah, and it's part of your one of my favorite questions is what's your superpower? But I feel like that's part of your superpower is like being able to find those words, and words are so powerful. I mean, as somebody who also just loves words, I've always journaled and written poetry, and I mean, I know that, and especially when it comes to creating what you want in your life and affirmation. But I mean, to give somebody a new title, you know, for themselves or calling themselves something different, or even those taglines, like that is really really powerful,
It
and
is,
they're
and often
important.
it is, and oftentimes I'll even come up with trademarkable slogans and information too, because it's just part of what I do. And I should probably be charging more for that, but I'm not. We'll work on that later. But it's so fun and interesting. The other superpower that I have, Rachel, and it's interesting because you mentioned that you took the messenger quiz and you feel like you're somewhere between, you know, the launcher and the leader. My gift is the gift of vision and seeing people at their highest potential where they really are. And that's why I said I see the legacy in you because of what you're creating with the collective. You might
Mm,
not quite see it yet, but you're going to fully own it soon. Just be prepared because it's coming. And what you've created is so magical for people. And it's such a beautiful container to be held in a space where we're creating abundance together. Right. So I know I get a little emotional, but anyway, I see that in you. And so I'm excited
I
for you.
love that. I think it's so important to see, you know, we can't always see in ourselves, of course, what other people see in us, and the potential that's there. So thank you for that. And I think that vision is so powerful. And especially when you're aligning with soul centered, you know, people who want to make an impact and want to help others and create transformation, those connections come really fast, and they're really valuable, they're really important. It's like we're doing bigger work here, right? We're
It
doing
is so
bigger.
true. One of my clients said to me, she's so funny. She said, "Lisa, why don't you share more that you help people make a bunch of money? Because basically you just see into the soul of the business and you know what needs to happen and the tweaks that need to happen, and then we make a bunch of money." I'm like, "Well, I never like to lead with the money. That's a byproduct. What's most important to me is that the message is clear and clean and concise, and it's really magnetizing those ideal clients. And then the money comes, right? But to focus just on the money first, I find that that's also an energetic disconnect because if there's any type of scarcity or money story left, what happens is it just causes a more stuckness, right? And who
Yes.
wants that?
Yeah, I can really I resonate with that. I've made a recent change in my career as well, where I really wanted to give myself to this more fully, and to, you know, not be so much in the corporate world where things were kind of driven by that energy a little bit. And so I think it's really important what you say about aligning with values and making sure checking in with our values every step of the way on our journey, no matter what kind of business we're trying to build, or what we're trying to share with the world. So I'd love to know, what are some other ways that people can work with you? And what else? You know, I think I would love for people to go check out Spiritual Sugar, the book. It's amazing. It's getting incredible reviews. Um, and the messenger quiz, I've posted the link here below. Go take the messenger quiz, find out what kind of messenger you are, and what are some of the other ways that people can be in your world?
Sure. So, of course, as you mentioned, the messenger quiz and through Right On Creative, again, I teach, train, and transform. So I talk, I do interactive speaking events, which are really fun. I also offer VIP sessions in magical Ashland, Oregon. So if you really want a strategic thinking partner that's a champion of your dreams, hire me for a day. We'll map it all out. And I'll follow up with you too. One of the things that I notice with many people when they offer VIP days, it's kind of one and done. And I don't do that. I want that accountability because when I've shared these ideas with you that are brilliant, I want you to implement them. If you don't implement them, I actually get offended. I really do. I'm like,
And you
hello.
wanna see the magic that
Well,
comes from, you know,
that's
the
exactly
beautiful
right.
treasures and magic that come as a result of the I mean, I feel the same way because I love to do strategy with people too, and I get so excited. I wanna
And
see,
you're
and when they
so good
and when
too,
they
by the
come
way.
back and they say, wow, like this is motivated me, this is changing me, I'm taking action, I'm so ready to go to the next level. Like that's where the reward is, seeing people inspired and taking action and going after their dreams, really.
Absolutely. And then I do something called a Manyon marketing web makeover for those who are already established, but maybe their website's not quite doing its thing. I review up to 7 pages of content for them. I rewrite headlines because that's the number one most read part of all content. And usually they're pretty weak and not really working for you. And then I also provide guidance to apply the challenge solution invitation framework to up-level the messaging on the sites for them. So that's another way that we can play. And of course, my content strategy plans. And beyond that, I actually do work with larger corporations and multi-million dollar corporations, as a matter of fact, to help with their messaging and strategy and work with their corporate leadership teams as well. So that isn't even on my site. That's something that just comes from referrals and things like that. And so I will do specialty contracts that way. And everything that I do, even though I've got packages, it's all customized. There's no cookie cutter, no paint by numbers. It just can't be, because no two people, no two businesses are exactly alike. So that's kind of how I play with the Right On Creative side. And with Spiritual Sugar, full transparency, all brand new to me. This is the first solo book. I'm in like 8 or 9 other bestsellers, but it wasn't my baby. This is my baby. And so right now it's available on the Spiritual Sugar website. And I'm working with independent bookstores to make sure that it's placed here locally as well. With the independent bookstores that feature the book, I will go and do author readings for them. And I'm also doing paid employee wellness presentations for businesses to work with their teams so that they can do bulk orders of the book. And then I will lead them through a 90-minute presentation where I do a reading and a Q&A, and then also lead them through some journaling prompts and help them create a commit to me action plan so that we're really being super happy and healthy. And also book clubs, because here's the thing, people, books don't sell themselves, interestingly enough. Well, nothing really does, but
they're making a comeback. Books are making a big comeback.
They are. And so with book clubs, my goal is to connect with the leaders of book clubs, offer them a bulk discount and also a Q&A session, because how many people actually get the author to come and talk to their book club? And it could be on Zoom, or it could be locally. Or if you really want to fly me there, you could do that too. And if it's somewhere fun that I want to go, I'm open. So it's really exciting, all of it. I'll also likely be doing some local Spiritual Sugar talking and healing circles for some of our local ladies. And we talked a little bit about that behind the scenes, and that's to come.
Very exciting. Briefly, I know we've been going for a while. I could talk to you all day, but I would love to briefly hear, where is the person at who either, okay, I want 2 parts for this. Where is the person at in their life that picks up and reads Spiritual Sugar and then walks away like really excited, ready, hopeful about healing some part of their life or themselves, whether it's physical, spiritual, mental, emotional. So let's start.
So that's beautiful. So it's really, the book is designed for the seeker. So someone who knows there's something bigger than themselves. It's not necessarily religious, it's spiritual. And it's designed to really, in a sense, lead you home to yourself. Like I mentioned that one of my girlfriends read it and said, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much for reminding me of who I am." I really want people to course correct their health and their wellness prior to facing mortality like I did. That is my goal. And so really, I'm overwhelmed by all the feedback I've gotten. So people are, being activated by the journal prompts. They're super excited about really just diving into the over 50 non-traditional modalities that I share that I use to complement Western medicine. And so it's interesting because someone said to me, I don't know why you didn't, create the subtitle to say the divine recipe to heal yourself with love. And what I say to that is, the reason the title is Spiritual Sugar, well, first of all, the creator gave that. But then the subtitle, the divine ingredients to heal yourself with love, is because I cannot create your recipe for you. I can lead you to ingredients, you can create your own. And what worked for me might not work for other people, because we're all individual. There are hundreds of different types of cancer, and there's no guarantee. However, the power of positive thinking is so big. I mean, you've heard of placebos. So maybe they're doing a drug trial and they're giving half of the room sugar pills and half of the room the trial drug. And oftentimes the people on the sugar pills will do better, right? Well, there's also something called a nocebo. And what that means is it's a loss of hope. So say you're given an expiration date and you believe that, and your mind is so strong that you pass away on that very date or nearby because that's what you were told. And there's studies that have been done that show the nocebo effect has actually killed people who were misdiagnosed, who weren't even ill, but their minds were so convinced that what the doctor said was correct, and they checked out. So I share this basically, everything I do is all to break the trance, challenge the status quo, and engage critical thinking, period. And that's what I want people to do. I also want people to get out in nature more. The other message that I received about this book is that, okay, Lisa, it's not to be religious, it's to be spiritual. And our humanity as a whole has lost so much hope and so much faith that you need to lead them to nature. You need to lead them to nature so they can just look around and see for themselves that there is something bigger than us. It doesn't matter to me what you believe as long as it's in the light and positive. Just know that we have to tap into that hope and that faith for humanity, because without it, we're a lost society. We just are.
Such a good reminder. So true. And I don't know the name of it, but there is actually something that happens in your brain when you're out in nature and you take in like a beautiful, expansive scene, a vista, something that is like a beautiful sunset, something mind-blowing, that it actually affects, of course, affects the neurochemicals. Just like being in nature, you're going to increase your endorphins, your serotonin, your dopamine, all of those good neurochemicals. But it actually can shift your brain, can shift your subconscious, open you up, and bring you back to that place of awe, something that's awe-inspiring.
It's so true. And just even taking your shoes off and walking in the grass and the dirt, you tap into the heartbeat of the earth, the Schumann resonance, all of these things that a lot of people don't know about. But when you read the book, you'll learn about them, because I assure you, I went down some serious rabbit holes on my healing journey and tried a lot of different things.
I've been on some of those rabbit holes too, and it's real. It's really real. And some of those rabbit holes can really connect you very fast to nature in a way that, like, for me, honestly, being in nature, that is my soul spirituality. That is my temple. That is my church. Nature absolutely brings me closer to myself and closer to spirit, the universe, God, however you want to call it. But that is so true. So, gosh, so many places we could go with this. I am so grateful to you for being here today. I would love to, just recommend that everybody take the messenger quiz. Any other thoughts that you want to share with us here? Especially it's Valentine's Day. Let's close with a little bit of a message about love.
Yeah, well, I really just invite everyone to really start healing yourself with love. The world needs more love. We've been through a difficult few years. Thankfully, most of us are out on the other side of it now. And it's time to really create what we want to experience. And I know that love amplifies everything. So if we can do all things with love, I think we need to do that. And I want to invite everyone to grab the book and get one for a friend. They're perfect gifts, especially on Valentine's Day.
I'm going to put a little QR code up here. If you're watching or you're catching the replay, you can point your camera right at that. It's going to take you right to Lisa's site. You can learn more about what she offers. You can take the messenger quiz. And I will be posting all of Lisa's links as well, so you can go right to Spiritual Sugar, learn more about her. Well, thank you so much, Lisa. It's been an honor to have you. I feel like I need to have you back because there's so much more we could dive into and talk about. And I'm very lucky because Lisa and I live close to each other and we actually get to hang out in real life.
I know. And we're going to co-create some magical things for our local ladies too. So stay tuned. We can't tell you, but it's going to be fun.
We're working on it. Yep, we're working on it. So thank you so much for being here. And I invite all of you to connect with Lisa. She is absolutely incredible. Just the way that she nurtures, she responds, she is so attentive. Like, she is an absolute joy to work with. Like, sometimes you start working with someone and you think they're really going to like be there and coach you and help you, and they get the sale, and then maybe, Lisa is like really there every step of the way supporting. I mean, she's just, I don't know, so wonderful to work with and to interact with. So I can't say enough about that.
Well, thank you, and right back at you. And I think everyone needs to check out the collective too, because you are up to some really cool things. And this whole Business in Abundance series is amazing for the ladies that are sharing their magic.
I am having so much fun. I'm creating something that I love, I enjoy, and that's what it's all about. I get to talk to amazing women. I get to share their gifts and hopefully, bring more abundance to everybody. That's really what it's all about.
It really is. So I'm so excited. Thank you for allowing me to share about marketing with integrity and activating more people to help sprinkle spiritual sugar throughout the world. I'm just delighted to be here, and I look forward to coming back and playing more.
Thank you so much. And yes, it is time to sprinkle. We need it after the few years we've had to sprinkle that spiritual sugar and spread the positivity, spread the abundance, create these strong core messages that create transformation in our lives and in the lives of others. So happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Go spread some of that love or give some of that love to yourself. And we will see you on the next interview.